Hello and welcome. Today I am going to talk about another element of the Moroccan culture, an element which is actually part and parcel of the Moroccan traditions. That's the hammam, or the steam bath. So the Moroccan hammam actually is the grandson of the Roman hammam, almost the same system. In both of them, we have the three famous rooms. In Roman, Tepidarium, Caldarium, Frigidarium. In Morocco, we call the cold room, the warm one, and the hot one. Of course, besides the hall in which people can put on and put off their clothes. So, to talk about the traditional hammam, actually I asked one of my father's friends. He lives in the countryside. He's a wise man in his early 90s. So when I asked him about that, he gave a big smile and said, well, the hammams before were not a building at all. He said that the hammams before were just a spot behind the house. He said that they would take a bucket full of warm water behind the house, and they choose a spot on which they put sometimes flat stones or a piece of plastic on which they stand, and they use a jug to pour water on their bodies. And he said that they would take a bath once a week, most of the time, every Friday morning. Morning, he meant before sunrise, because Friday is the day of the prayer, so to be clean enough for the prayer, they had to, as it is actually nowadays, even the Muslims, they have to be clean in order to go to the mosque to pray together. So, and he continued that, always smiling, that when the things got developed enough, they could build a hammam. They could build actually a tent-like small reed room. That is to say, a small room built by reeds and straw and covered with a blanket. Nowadays, in some villages in the countryside, the people, they still do the same. So that's the hammam actually how it would be like in the countryside. But also in the city, hammam was very important, but especially not only for men, but for women. And I think for many women it was much more important. The hammam, as we say, it plays a great role in the Moroccan social life. And when we talk about the city, we talk about its importance for women. You know that the women before, they could not go out. Most of the time they could go out only to go to hammam. It was their only opportunity to go out. It was also a place of relaxation, a comfortable place for talking and feeling free. Sometimes also a place where they could complain to each other about their husbands or their husbands' mothers. And for some mothers, the hammam also was a place where they could find future wives for their sons. Because women or mothers, they would take their unmarried daughters to the hammam to present them to other women. Other women who were looking actually for future wives for their sons. So, and after that they start arranging the marriages, etc. So, the hammams before in the cities there was only one hammam, but for both men and women. And of course, not in the same time. Most of the time, early evenings and early morning for men, and after that, especially noon and afternoon for women. Because noon and afternoon, that's a time, or it's a rest time for women. They are not doing at home nothing, so they could go to the hammam. Recently in cities there are hammams, but this time men and women. You can find a hammam for men and the other one for women. So this solved somehow the problem, and the men and the women, they can go at any time they like, of course respecting the opening and closing time of the hammam. I think I shall end up here because I have to go to the hammam, or to put it as we in Morocco say, I have to heat up my bones. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Thank you.